What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcast. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with the Mark Weber.
Dub them ease.
And we're back for another edition of the Onside Kick right here on Most Valuable Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything NFL. And we got a jam-packed show, Mark, but before I do that, what do I got to do? Got to do a little bit of housekeeping. First off, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. If you had not checked it out already, please do so. You love watching the videos. You hit that like button, that sub button. You share our videos, want to help out even more, check out our Patreon page. Just for $10, you can be on an Onside Kick with us. I am pretty excited, though, Mark, because Christian, who is one of our newest patrons, he did say he listens to the Fast Break and the Onside Kick, so hoping to get Christian on an Onside Kick in the near future. And also, if you're on iTunes right now, thank you for listening. And if you have an iTunes account, give us that 5-star rating. Give the Onside Kick, the Primetime Podcast, the Fast Break, and the Rick and Johnny Podcast that beautiful 5 stars on iTunes. It would mean the world to us. We got a jam-packed show. We always got a jam-packed show, Mark, and we're talking about quarterbacks today on the podcast. Looking at Eli Manning. He's been benched. We're kind of going to look, is he done with the Giants because of this? We're going to look at Jimmy Garoppolo. Could starting him hurt the 49ers? And then we're looking at my Vikings and can Case Keenum bring the Vikings to the promised land in their own home stadium in Super Bowl Lee this year. Or Lee this year. There's an extra I this year.
Gotta get excited.
Before we make our Week 13 picks to end the podcast. But let's start off Eli Manning. And I'm going to ask you, with the benching of Eli, Geno Smith's going to start this week. Is Eli kaputzed in New York?
You know, I've been on record multiple times, whether it's Twitter at the Mark Weber or here on the podcast.
2 weeks we talked about, will he be done?
Yeah, and I've been on the record of saying that I think that the New York Giants should and will draft a quarterback in the first round of this draft. Eli Manning is 36 years old. But do I think that he is done as a New York football Giant? No, not at all. And actually, I think that this move is going to do the opposite of what a guy like Ben McAdoo thinks it's going to do. To me, this really smells of a very similar situation that I have experienced in Chicago with a coach that did not pan out, even though he was a decent, coordinator, and Mark Trestman, who got a little sick of his quarterback and decided he was going to bench Jay Cutler and put in, I think that was not Caleb Haney, that was
Josh McCown.
Josh McCown year. There's so many backups in Chicago.
The reason I remember that is Dave would make the joke that he got replaced by the high school gym teacher.
Now, it reminds me of that only because this was a coach that everybody knew was going to get fired at the end of the year. And he benched the quarterback to be like, look, it's not me, it's him. That's what Ben McAdoo is doing in my eyes. He's saying, look, my system works. It's not me, it's Eli. It's Eli. Eli Manning's the guy to blame. And everybody is seeing past it. Everybody's being like, Ben, just stop it, man. You're going to get fired. Start looking for new jobs. Dust off the resume. Make sure it's nice and up to date. Make sure you got a suit, because he's the one who's going to be looking for new jobs. It's not going to be Eli. Eli Manning means so much to the New York Football Giant organization with those 2 beautiful super rings that he has gotten instead
I like how
of...
you said Super Rings and not Super Bowl rings.
Well, they're pretty magical. Over, of course, the GOAT, Tom Brady. And, he just means so much to this organization that I can't imagine that he will be gone next year. They're not going to trade him, which is what people are saying in the offseason. They'll trade him. No, because McAdoo's going to be gone, so they're going to get a new head coach. A new head coach is going to get his pick between Davis Webb, maybe Geno Smith. I'm not sure if Geno's on a one-year deal or not. And Eli Manning. And, of course, they're going to pick Eli Manning, the guy who's won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, the thing that I look at is the whole thing that I think this plays into, and really topic 1 and topic 2 for us today are kind of going to interline and kind of link together because they both talk about the draft. And Geno is on a 1-year deal. I looked that up for you.
So basically you can
he's
switch
done at the end of
Geno
the year.
with new quarterback they draft.
And that's what I'm looking at because as of right now, you've got the Browns at number 1, you've got the 49ers at 2, but then you've got the Giants at 3. And for me, if I'm a Giant fan right now, first off, is Eli done? Absolutely not. Eli will not be done. However, I think the Giants are doing exactly what they need to do. And I know Giant fans just grabbed the table as they almost fell over. What? Bench Eli? But by starting Geno Smith and by losing games, because let's be completely honest, you're not, like, I didn't see the Giants winning out the rest of the year. But Eli's still a pretty good quarterback. They might be able to win some games.
They got a tough end of the schedule. I don't think so.
But you look at even just the last 2, we all thought the Kansas City Chiefs would be a tough game for them, and they won that one in overtime. And then even with the Redskins, that was only a 10-point game. They've had some close games here this year. The Chargers was 27-22. Tampa Bay was 25-23. That was a last-second field goal that won that game. The Philadelphia Eagles also needed. That was the Carson Wentz, I'll give the kicker my paycheck if he makes this kick in that game. So there have been some close games for the Giants this year. But by starting Geno Smith, what I think is going to happen, and I'm kind of spoiling things for the next segment.
And to be fair, they're starting Geno Smith and then also playing Davis Webb.
Yes.
They've already committed to playing both quarterbacks.
By doing that, what the Giants are going to do...
And you know what they say, when you got 2 quarterbacks, you really have none.
What the Giants are going to do is basically say, you know what, Eli, this year's a wash. I know your streak comes to the end, and that's why I kind of almost agree with Eli, like what he said when he was asked about it. Yeah, I thought I was just going to come in and basically come in to keep the streak alive of consecutive games started for the Giants.
They're gonna, you know what they would
I'd
have
let them
them
play
do?
that first series, and then
you
benched.
put them out there. You go, all right, Eli, you're gonna kneel it.
I'd do it.
First and 10, kneel.
Does he get the start?
No, here's the problem with that. He's at 210 right now. Eli Manning's at 210 starts. You know how many starts Brett Favre had?
A lot.
278.
A lot.
He is about 5.5 football seasons away from
He's
Brett Favre.
not going to catch Brett Favre.
He's not going to play till he's 41.
And the point that I was getting at,
there's no point in continue. Like, the streak doesn't matter because you're not going to get. You're not going to win.
It only matters to Eli. It doesn't matter to the team. It
But
matters
you're going
to
to
the
come in
player.
second place.
But here's the
Eli
ultimate.
is used to being second place against his brother.
Not the point. Not the point. I know you're going with the joke there.
It had to happen.
But he's equal Manning.
He's used to being second place. Currently, he's
equal Manning. But
yeah.
My point is, what I think is going to happen is by them starting Geno and playing Davis Webb, is they are basically going to take the number 2 overall pick away from the 49ers. And by having the number 2 pick, because I don't think they can get the number 1 away from Cleveland, is they'll keep Eli, fire Ben McAdoo, get rid of the GM, bring a new GM, a new coach in, and say, okay, you've got the second pick. You get, depending on if they come out, but right now, basically, you get your pick between Darnold and Rosen, unless the Browns either trade the pick and someone takes one of them, you're going to get one of those 2 guys. So you're going to get either Rosen or Darnold, can get that high quarterback to have your guy, while Eli kind of bridges that gap, kind of Aaron Rodgers style, except I don't know if it's 3 years like Aaron.
The only dangerous thing is it's very similar to his brother, Peyton. And what
with Andrew Luck.
Well, yeah, what their dad, Archie Manning, who controls everything in the Manning family, what his dad has said in the past
Sure,
is...
it's not Cooper?
You don't... Yeah, Cooper... we like to pretend Cooper's not even there.
He's the ultimate puppet master.
They've said in the past that you don't draft a quarterback number 1 or number... We're going to put number 2 in there, but that's not part of the quote. You don't draft a quarterback number 1 overall or number 2 to have them sit. You don't do it. If you draft a guy that early, it's because you intend for them to start. Now, I don't know. People really love these recruits coming out of college here, but I would put Andrew Luck at a different level. I think Andrew Luck is that.
I would.
Is that guy, I don't like the term once in a generation. I think it's a little silly, but he's a once in a generation type of quarterback. These guys are really good prospects, but we'll see if they turn out. Well, Andrew Luck was a sure thing.
I would agree. Andrew Luck you knew the whole entire season he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Jameis Winston was a little bit different because to me, like the Jameis Winston draft, we technically had 2 of those quarterbacks. I think Marcus Mariota or Jameis Winston could have been a number 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
They were both in the same class. You've got like the Cam Newtons, the Matthew Staffords. It's like, you know what? We don't have that here. Like Darnold could be that guy, but there are scouts saying, hey, you know what? Go back to school 1 more year. Get that under your belt. Where right now more scouts are favoring Rosen over Darnold. However, Darnold has the higher ceiling. Rosen has the higher floor. That's how you got to look at it coming out.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where is that going to lead to a Manning family wanting another trade?
Yes.
And it definitely could. So New York is in a very tricky situation right now, and if you didn't bench Eli and then you draft someone right off the bat, I think you can maybe weather that storm and you can maybe get through it. Drafting a quarterback and already creating the bad blood, because the Manning family does not tolerate things like this. They would be the kind of family to say, no, you don't do this to our son. They'll call up Roger Goodell and say, "Got to change the rules, buddy. Extend the trade deadline for my boy Eli,
for my baby boy.
He's going to Jacksonville."
I could see that's one of the teams off the mics I brought up to you. Tom Coughlin is there.
It makes sense.
I mean, Blake Bortles is nothing like Eli Manning.
He'll go to Jacksonville. He'll go to Denver. He's got places he can go and compete right now. He can go to play with Andy Reid.
They got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but Alex Smith sucks, and they're not willing to play Mahomes right now.
The Cardinals?
Eli Manning can sling it. Cardinals, they're falling off too much for me for Eli to go and compete today. But I'm just saying that there are options there, and the Manning family is not the kind that will be subtle about do this for us right now because we are football royalty.
Yeah.
Do I think that's going to happen? Not really. I think Eli Manning is a different kind of Manning, and everybody's been talking about how he's such a good guy and stuff like that, and he is. He definitely is. You can see it right now by him not extending his streak, by him saying no. If you're gonna play this guy, you play him. I'll take my benching. I'll do it.
He said, I'll be a good backup, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll back him up.
Exactly. Something that his brother certainly I don't think would have done. His dad I don't necessarily think would have done either.
No, his brother didn't do. Like, Brock Osweiler was basically, remember the Titans, where's my helmet? And Peyton was like, it's okay, I've got it.
And then karma got Peyton after he got hurt and Brock had his job for a while.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
But then, of course, it came back and Peyton tied his brother in Super Bowls. But anyways, I think that Eli will be back. I really just think this backfires on Ben McAdoo, and Ben McAdoo's getting his ass handed to him and kicked out the door. If anything, this locker room, which already was falling apart, is going to be in absolute disarray. And if anything, I think this causes Ben McAdoo to lose his job sooner as opposed to a Black Monday type of job loss.
Well, and the thing that you also got to think about is I get why the Giants, like I said, could be doing this, because when it plays to the draft, especially, I mean, they made the move before the Niners. It wasn't like the Niners named Jimmy Garoppolo. It was we're going to bench Eli, and they knew that. But just now what happened with the Jimmy Garoppolo starting, like it plays in. I get getting the higher draft seed, although that probably wasn't the main reason, but now it works into that. But when you look at Eli, it's like, is this 2-9 season, is it Eli's fault? No. The one thing I look at, and I mean, of course, everyone is going to say, you've got Odell Beckham, who's only played 4 games this year, and Brandon Marshall, who's only played 5. Your 2 top wide receivers that were supposed to be coveted weapons for Eli Manning have played a combined 9 games together.
Well, and don't forget Sterling Shepard, too.
Yeah.
Who had a great first year. And now you don't have any of these weapons. You know, you've never had a run game in a long, long, long time. And
your best weapon has been your rookie tight end, Ingram. He's been your best weapon out there.
And your defense is, you know, the thing that's kind of expected to be a bright spot on this team. And it can't keep doing well, you know, because the rest of the team isn't able to compete. So they're on the field all the time.
Yep.
A big thing for me that the one sticking point, and a reason why I would maybe even believe one of your crazy tinfoil hat conspiracies here of tanking is what you're basically accusing them of doing.
Yeah.
If you said, you know what, we drafted Davis Webb, let's see what he's got. That's an okay thing to do. And they're kind of sort of toying with that, but they're throwing in this weird wrench of, and Geno Smith gets to start too. You know, and it's like, why? We know Geno Smith is not a good quarterback.
We know he's garbage.
We know what Geno Smith is.
Why did you even sign him?
He is just a camp body, you know, is what he should be, and somehow he's on the roster still as a backup.
Here's a trick question for you.
Sure.
Who would you rather have on your team, Tim Tebow or Geno Smith?
Tim Tebow.
Okay.
Because at least I can put him in fourth quarter and we'll win.
Or overtime.
As long as it's close.
Or
as long as it's within 15 points, Tim Tebow can do it.
Or overtime.
Yeah.
How does that feel, Steelers fans?
You only need one play.
One play in
Timmy
overtime.
T can do it.
One play.
I remember, just as an aside, I remember a girl that I had met a long days ago.
Many moons ago?
Before I was married. And we exchanged numbers and we're talking on the phone, and the thing that did it for me, this was the thing that made me know
she really liked Tim Tebow.
This is not going to work. She kept trying to convince me that Tim Tebow, he could get it done if someone just gave him a chance. And I was like, and this is after that year, after the playoff game and everything. So if somebody just gave him a chance, I think he'd be a really good quarterback.
No.
And I was like,
no.
I don't know how much football you watch. But the answer is no. Tim Tebow cannot. He is fine on the bench. And he's fine on the couch.
And we are very happy that ended right there, and that you are at where you're at right
literally,
now.
that phone conversation, that was a phone conversation. That phone conversation made me go, there's not going to be any more of this. No.
I'm deleting your number.
We're done with
this. I am blocking your number, deleting your number, never talking to you.
We literally never did talk again after that.
But final thoughts on this, because I think we've gotten enough of it, is how do you think this is all going to play out? Because obviously both you and I don't think that this means Eli's done and he's for sure not a Giant next year. But take me through the rest of this season, the off season, a little bit of next year. How do you think this is all going to play out for the Giants?
Well, anybody who looks at this is going to know it's not Eli's fault. I mean, people are going to complain about interceptions because that's what Eli does. He makes boneheaded decisions, and he has a good enough team most of the time to bail him out. But you look at his interceptions this year, and he is on pace to have one of his lowest interceptions thrown, probably his second or third lowest,
which is amazing
in the season.
Amazing, just due to the weapons that he's had injured.
Yeah, for having nothing. You look at his yards not being that great, but of course that's going to be because he's got nobody to throw the ball to. Touchdowns not very good. Once again, nobody to throw the ball to. This team can't score. They're one of the worst for points for. This is not on Eli. To me, this just screams once again of a coach trying to point the fingers at somebody. And he's already lost his locker room, so he's going to be out the door. I think there's a good chance he's out the door before the season ends, before Black Monday.
You know what is also a red flag for Ben McAdoo, though? I think it was the Denver game. It wasn't the Chief game. I think it was the Denver game. That was the one where they finally gave over play calling from, I think it was Ben McAdoo to the offensive coordinator. And it's like, holy crap, they're winning. And I was like, really? You're the head coach. You're supposed to be this big offensive mind that, you're the whole. It wasn't Tom Coughlin that made this offense go. It was you that made this offense go.
Yeah.
And the big thing that I think has been the Giants' kind of biggest crutch, and it's what might have left when Tom Coughlin left. Tom Coughlin, and he's showing it in Jacksonville, is the ultimate culture builder. Mm-hmm. Coughlin time. Giant time is what you'd always hear in interviews, where it's like, he'd set the clocks 5 minutes fast.
Which is stupid.
So you're basically always 5 minutes. Basically, meetings are starting 5 minutes earlier than they really should.
Such a dumb thing.
Because it's giant time.
It's really stupid.
I saw it was an interview with the punter. I think it was Weatherford still at the time. He's like, yeah, I'd have to set my watches and stuff 5 minutes back because I couldn't be late to meetings and stuff.
Which is silly because if everybody's clocks get moved by 5 minutes, then the meeting is just at 10:05 or at 9:55. It doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything. It's such a stupid thing. Maybe that's why I'm not an NFL head coach, because I'm not buying into Coughlin's giant time. But to move forward, they're obviously going to be looking for somebody. They're probably going to clean house is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Except keep Eli, but know that he's probably
on the coaching staff. Yeah. They're going to clean house that way. They're going to be looking for someone who's willing to work with Eli. An interesting one that I just want to throw out there, John Fox is good when he's got a good team already. The problem he's had in Chicago is he just can't get this team to a level that's ready to go. He's a lot better when he's got pieces there already. Not saying John Fox is going to happen. I just want to throw it out there because it's basically been confirmed by now that John Fox will be fired at the end of the season for Chicago. Ryan Pace has his list of guys he's interested in. He doesn't want to make the move yet. He's waiting until the end of the season for reasons.
Which makes me happy because all year I've been calling for John Fox.
And I used to be the guy to say, John Fox, he'll be fine. He'll keep his job, and I can't defend him anymore. He's gone. Dal Loggins is gone. I wish Vic Fangio wasn't gone, but he'll be gone probably too.
Bears are going to clean house also.
I think they'd be willing to keep Vic Fangio. It just won't happen because of various reasons. So they're going to be looking around for someone, and they're going to try and find somebody that's willing to work with Eli, while at the same time probably groom the young quarterback that they draft in the first round.
Let's say you do go and get rid of Ben McAdoo. I'll ask you the same question I asked Brandon when we talked about the Bears.
Yep.
Do you go offensive mind? Do you go defensive mind? Are you a guy that goes like a John Fox way where that's more of a defensive-minded coach, or do you go out there and the one that obviously comes to my mind is a guy that's going to come up in a lot of interviews is Jim Bob Cooter with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Do you go with a more offensive style coach, or do you go with that defensive style if you're the Giants?
I think part of me is split. I mean, if I'm very focused on Eli Manning and I think that we can win something now, kind of do a Peyton Manning-esque last ride, then I want a defensive coach. And the reason is why is because the strength of this team should be on this defense.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great pieces on offense. Eli can make it happen. But if I'm really focused on this young guy that I'm drafting in the first round, then I want an offensive guy. I want somebody who can groom him while at the same time Eli is going to be there still keeping the ship, still doing good things, and then kind of showing and being that role model. Although you can go with a defensive coach and Eli Manning can still help out. Eli Manning can still coach this young guy if he's willing to, and I think Eli would be, unlike his brother Peyton.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to say, and then I'm listening to you, and I'm going, you said the exact thing I was going to say. If you're going to go Eli, go defensive coach. If you're going to draft a quarterback at number 2 overall, go with an offensive coach. But I want to turn it on to you guys now. Let us know what you guys think. Is Eli done? What should the Giants do with their number 2 pick? I'm pretty convinced they're the number 2 pick at this point. Basically,
it should be.
With Jimmy Garoppolo and Eli, what's going on? We're going to get into Garoppolo next. But what will they do with their pick? Who should you hire if you get rid of McAdoo? Let us know about everything down below in the comment section.